There's so many different avenues that you can go down, and you can be really good at some things and just focus in on that and hone in on it. But I feel like there's also some other things that we don't know, and we might just be missing some things. And so the more we educate ourselves, the more we spend time in this and networking and talking with other successful people, the more those light bulbs click. And we write down, these are some things I need to focus on. Oh, those are some things that he's doing. Man, why didn't I ever do that? You start writing those things down and learning from them. And it's just great to keep learning.
All right, welcome to the Massive and Passive Income Show. I am Colter, and I am here with my friend Eric Velasquez. And Eric and I met, a number of years ago.
Yeah, I think 2017, 2016.
Yeah,
probably.
And then so in that time frame, 2016, 2017, we started talking about a whole bunch of things, a lot of it being around business, and then we dove into real estate. And
changed my life.
Well, let's hear about it. What was so revolutionary about it?
I don't know. I think when I first met you, I was blown away with how many things you were doing and how young you were and still extremely successful. And I thought, I need to glean some information from this guy. And so you started talking about your real estate stuff, and I started thinking, there's always been this opportunity with buying this 9-plex from a guy I was renting from. And just kind of gave me that courage, like, I really should be doing something else in addition to this with my family for my retirement planning, for having things taken care of. I mean, I do retirement planning, but I have handfuls of clients that are very heavily invested in real estate, and so and they're doing very well. And so I thought I need to learn a little bit more from you, and so talking with you, when I had that deal, we talked. You helped me kind of go through that. You said, well, if you don't buy that office building, I will. And a couple other friends said the same when we went to lunch. And I just took a lot of people out to lunch and said, I'm new at this. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to real estate. And would you do this deal? Here's the numbers. Here's the income. Here's what it's going to cost me. And every one of them were like, yeah, you'd kind of be pretty silly not to do this. So I talked to my wife and we felt good about it. It was kind of scary, but we went for it, and it's been awesome. So after that, we ended up buying like 5 properties in 2018 and ended up getting into it kind of crazily that time, and worked out very well. We've been buying and selling a couple since then, and it's been awesome. We've loved it.
Yeah,
So.
I've loved watching you do exactly that and flip it on its head of like how you did it. Because I didn't get into commercial until way later. You started in commercial, and then, but I started in residential and then grew to commercial. I mean, you just bit the big bullet right off the bat.
Yeah, that's why it was so scary for us, because it was big numbers. But it was all the things that everyone's always looking for. I was a good tenant. And some people had reached out to me, the owners, and said they'd love for me to buy it. I mentioned to them 10 years prior that I would like to buy like my little office or all of it if that ever happened. And they all said, no, that's never going to happen. Sorry, but it's been in the family. This is now going on the 3rd generation. He's like, my dad built this building. I've been managing it when I was younger, and now my kids are taking over. So we're never going to sell. And so fast forward like 8 or 9 years later from that first conversation, he approached me and said, hey, we're selling this other building, but not this one. We're selling this other building, but not this one. Gave me a couple options to buy some others. And he told me finally he was going to sell this one. I didn't want to have to change where I was, and all my clients have to know where they had to go differently, and I really liked my office. And so anyways, he approached me with it and showed me the amount, the numbers and everything, and I just kind of got scared and thought, nah, that's going to be way too much, I think, for my wife and I to do. I said, we could come up with that, but that's going to like wipe out almost everything we have. And he said, well, I could do owner financing. And I was like, I don't know what that means. I didn't tell him that, but I just said, oh, no, thanks. I didn't educate myself, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And so like a year and a half passed, long story short, he passed away, unfortunately. But he'd always pop into my office. Hey, you want to buy this place? You want to buy this place? And, I can't afford it. And so his wife came in. He was a client of mine. He had life insurance. And so his wife and son came in. And they said, he really liked you, Eric. He really wanted you to buy this place. And I said, I know. I wish we could have made it work. And she said, well, he and I talked very, very extensively about you and Misty. And we would be happy to owner finance you. And I just broke down at that point and said, okay, I don't know what that means. Can you explain, what are the terms? What would that be? And so she said, oh, yeah, we'll do how about 5%, amortize on a 30-year note, and you pay us in 15 years. I thought, okay. Well, I'm going to go take out a bunch of my friends at lunch and talk to them. You were one of them. Would you do this deal? And you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it cash flows. It makes a little bit more extra, and you'd have, free rent, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so it worked out really well. And then we bought another, office building just like a couple months later, which came with a little house for sale. And then that led to our very first short-term rental. And that led to another short-term rental all within that year. We just kind of went crazy in 2018 buying stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've sold a couple of those and flipped them and did 1031s to other stuff. And we're looking at other deals and just trying to keep growing that. And my wife and kids and I, it's been an awesome experience for our family. We've just loved getting into it all. It's been awesome. It's been a blessing.
What a cool journey of, I don't know, it's just amazing to me of okay, why not buy this? Asking questions, I think that's super powerful, is that there's people out there, that mentors, others that know more than we do about a topic. And if we're trying to accomplish something, we got to rely on somebody that's done it before and has experience and can teach us how to do that very thing.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm looking at buying a piece of property that's right next door to mine, and kind of the same thing again. I always tell people that, hey, if you ever want to sell this, give me a call. Well, just last week, this guy called me. And I was looking at my contacts. I'm like, who is this guy? He was in my phone, but I don't even remember who it was. And then give him a call back. Oh, it's my neighbor. It's been 2 years since I talked to him. He owns an RV park right next to mine. So I don't see him a lot. We do our short-term rental stuff. It's not like we hang out. We're not, neighbors. Mm-hmm. But I told him years ago, hey, you ever want to sell this place? Let me have first dibs at it. And so he called me last week and said, hey, I'm going to sell it. And I think we're going to make a pretty awesome deal with merging those two properties, and it should be awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you basically get to double the size of your existing property, right? And it's the power of suggestion.
Yeah.
You already had an asset that was acquired and paying for itself, but you saw the one next door, and the guy that was creating a revenue generating RV park just suggested to him to say, hey, you know what? If you ever want to sell, just
give me a call.
Give me a ring. Give me a call. Let's talk. Yep. And I love that first option of being able to buy property. And if you're invested in this industry and you're telling people, hey, you know what? I'm an investor. This is what I want. This is how I want to grow my wealth. And just tell them what it is that you want in the industry. It's amazing how long term it will come back to you.
Yeah.
And I actually bought a little house from an older couple. They're moving to Mexico. They had been wintering there for several years, and they were moving to Mexico. And they sold me a house, and they sold me it on seller carry financing. I think it was the first one. It was at 3% interest.
Oh man!
Which was, I mean,
free money.
It was free money. It really was. But awesome. It was in a lull in the market, and they just didn't want to have to deal with it. Well, they called me 2 years later. I'd been paying on time, all of the things that take care of somebody that wants to sell you a property. Right. And they're like, hey, we have this other property. Do you want to buy it? And I was like, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. And But I learned something in that same conversation. They had another house that was actually outside of my buy box, inside of this, I know that I buy within this range, and it was $5,000 over my buy box. And I just decided, no, that's not the one for me, and I'm not interested. I could sit and regret not having purchased that, because that same house was worth 150, 200 grand more than what I could have purchased it for. And I'm really good at the buy, but I'm not so good at the sell. Yeah. I really like buying and holding and having things pay for themselves. Right. That's my favorite thing. That passive income, mailbox money, that's where it's at, in my opinion. Yeah.
We've had a couple of those where we've held on to them. My very first one, that big office building of the 9-plex, we still own that. The second office building that we bought was an 8-plex. That was kind of a pain in the neck. And so I thought, you know what? It's made money. I could, the ROI on it isn't as big as my other stuff. And so I think I'm going to let that one go and then do a 1031 to something that I like having more fun with. I like cabins. I like, places that we can use if it's not being used. My kids like going up to Highland Park quite a bit, and so that's what we did. We just could see what we wanted to keep, what we didn't. Last year we looked at a property that was on 3 lots, and it was a fixer-upper. But this realtor knew Eric and Misty fix up cabins. These guys will look at this nasty, ugly, gutted cabin and not run away. These guys will love this. And so she called us up, and we went and checked it out, took a look at it, crunched the numbers, and thought, if I can get this cabin and put so much into it and even just break even, I'll walk away with 2 free lots that are probably worth just as much as that cabin would be that we bought it for. And so we ended up doing that. Last year we put a lot of time into doing that. I mean, it was like 6 weeks. I guess it's not a lot of time. It felt like a lot of time because it was our whole summer, basically.
Feels like a lot of time.
Yeah. And so, but we did that from the time we bought it, sold it, made some money from it, pretty good chunk that I was super grateful for, as well as walked away with a couple other properties and another short-term rental. And anyways, there were some cool things there with like buying and just knowing what you're wanting to do. When we bought that, we had a game plan. We know this isn't going to make sense to buy it and hold it for that, but we can hold on to these 2 pieces. And so we were just trying to, just be very aggressive with a portion of it, but also conservative, and also wanted to, be able to pivot if we ever needed to. We hoped that we could buy it and sell it, or buy it and hold it and make it all work and everything. But as we were getting into it more, we thought this would make better sense financially for us to just flip it. And so it's worked out great. So I would do a deal like that every year if it came on my lap again.
Yeah, even if you only did a deal like that every year.
Yeah, I'd be just fine.
It'd be okay.
Life would be good if that was all I did one year. Yeah, that was
that
good.
would create some freedom and some excitement every single year.
Yeah. It'd be maybe the kids wouldn't like it every year that we did that with their summer, but they would. They'd be grateful, I guess, when we have all these assets when we're older and we can play with them.
Right. Well, they might as well work during the summer so that you can play while they're in school.
That's right.
There's a plan. There's a life plan here.
That's right.
This is all for their future.
That's right. They'll be great one day.
Well, man, we've covered a lot of things. Fix and flips, seller finance deals, 1031 exchanges, commercial real estate, short-term rental real estate. I mean, the gamut of, the opportunities, but also the segments of the real estate investing industry and market is that there's so much opportunity. And I love what you said earlier is that we just don't know what we don't know.
Right, like development. I don't know how to develop, how to build something from the ground up, how to do all that. I would love to learn more about it, and that's where hopefully we can work on some deals together and keep on moving forward and growing. So
I like that.
So it's been exciting to learn so much about real estate. But there's so many different avenues that you can go down, and you can be really good at some things and just focus in on that and hone in on it. But I feel like there's also some other things that we don't know, and we might just be missing some things. And so the more we educate ourselves, the more we spend time in this and networking and talking with other successful people, the more those light bulbs click. And we write down, these are some things I need to focus on. Oh, those are some things that he's doing. Man, why didn't I ever do that? You start writing those things down and learning from them. And it's just great to keep learning. So,
yeah. Well, I couldn't have said it better. Let's just sum it up with Eric knows what he's talking about.
No.
And, but
starting to.
There's so much for us to learn. And I look at the knowledge of different segments, of different opportunities in real estate as tools in our tool belt to be able to solve the bigger problem.
Right.
And as real estate investors, we are problem solvers. There's a guy that you're taking care of right now that wants to sell his RV park, and you were his first solution to a problem that he has, which is he wants to sell and he wants to move his money into a different investment. That requires some ask on, will you do seller financing? Okay, you don't want to do that. Okay, do I do cash, or do I partner with somebody, or do I need to go get some traditional bank financing?
Right.
You know, and so we go down these methods, and if we don't understand all of the little intricacies of what it means to own an RV park, and you spent some time this week with city planners and developers,
right,
and
thinking about it 24/7. My wife can attest to that. I've been looking up a lot on this because I want to know everything I can. And it really is, you know, some people can think, oh, real estate is so scary, you know, all this and that. It's really a numbers game. It's like if you do a lot of homework calculations and talk with other professionals who've done it, once you do your first deal, it's like, oh, yeah, we can do more of these. Yeah. Once you talk to someone who's done, you know, dozens of deals, they're like, yeah, that makes sense, dude. Go for it. Why wouldn't you? And so, you know, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the RV stuff. I don't know everything about it. I've followed it for a couple of years. I've never had an opportunity where it's kind of come up, and so I've thought I need to do even more digging in this. I want to make sure I hear from the horse's mouth with the planning and zoning guy that this would be okay, or this idea would be okay. Well, what if we did this? What if we did that? And he's like, yes, no, yes, okay, yeah, that, but if you do this. And so I just wanted to know everything before I go and talk to someone who wants to invest in this with me, that, okay, these are the things that we can do. Here's how we can get from A to B here, or here's another idea. If we did this from C to D here, then these are our options. What do you think makes the most sense for us? And then we talk about it. Yeah. But all along the way, we're learning and we're growing and we're trying to make the best calculated decision that we can to have the most success with the least amount of risk. So,
well, I think that it's problem solving, it's creating a plan, and it's applied mathematics.
Yep.
Really is what it comes down to. Is we're creating these solutions for people. We're doing it through creating a plan that can be executed and do it seamlessly, and then we're just using mathematics. We're trying to get a return on investment.
Right.
And this application of cash or credit or financing or partnership or whatever it may be is just in the end goal of being able to create more than what we had before.
Right.
So, well, thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
We get to talk.
Thanks, Colter.
We get to talk a lot offline, and this is really fun to put us on camera because.
I wasn't expecting this, so this has been fun.
Yeah, we
enjoyed it.
Put this on spur of the moment for Eric.
And, I'm happy to have done it. It was fun. So.
Well, we'll go spend some more time at the cabin and play cash flow and continue to learn more about real estate and sharing what we do about real estate and finances, and you know, I love it.
Yeah,
so.
We'll follow up and see where this RV thing goes later on, and any other ideas and stuff that we've done. So, to be continued.
That's right.
One day.
Thank
maybe.
you.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.